Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. You know, I was planning to do a spoiler review for Spider-Man Homecoming after my lowdown, but you know, I've noticed after a few takes, I realized that it's going to run way too long, so I'm going to separate them. So basically, I'm going to separate what I originally was planning. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to I'll give you a spoiler review, and I'll also give you an Easter egg review. So these are the Easter eggs that you see in Spider-Man Homecoming. Keep in mind, there may be spoilers ahead, alright? So if you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, I would suggest you watch it first, then watch this one, because I might spoil some things, alright? But, you know, that's just a cautionary disclosure. Let's start off with basically the villains in the movie. All right, you have actually 5 villains in this movie. All right, we already have the Vulture, right? But we also have the Tinkerer, who was like, you know, an inventor and everything that was making weapons, you know, against Spider-Man. And the interesting thing about the Tinkerer is the Tinkerer premiered in the same issue as the Vulture did, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 2, right? So if you want to talk about, you know, basically Spider-Man villains, like, you know, his core and base and original villains, the Tinkerer is actually his 3rd villain that he faced and everything. All right. The other villain that you actually have in this movie is basically you have Montana, who is one of the members of the Enforcers. The Enforcers was the first supervillain group that Spider-Man actually faced off against, but they weren't the supervillain group like with superpowers and everything. They were more of like, you know, specialized hitman group and everything for the Syndicate. Just to let you guys know, in Marvel Comics, the Syndicate is another word for the Mafia. Alright? And basically, Montana in the comics was basically the middle person, like average height type of dude, and he originally used a rope and a rope and everything, like a lasso, like basically like cowboys used. A little bit later on, they gave him a whip and everything, but you know, he's in this movie, and who he plays is actually, he is one of the people that are the Shocker, because there are 2 Shockers and everything, right? And basically, spoiler alert, you know, don't get too used to him, you know. And yes, the actual Shocker, Herman Schultz, is in this movie as well. But they changed his race from a Caucasian guy to a black guy, you know. Anyway, so, oh, and the last villain that I'm going to make a reference to is basically Matt Gargan, aka the Scorpion. You know, you see him in this movie actually, and basically, as I said, that I would love to see the Scorpion in an upcoming Spider-Man movie and all. You know, looks as if we're going to get that and everything. All right, and go back to my top 10 villains that I want to see. Scorpion was number 2. We also have basically a nice Easter egg of Betty Brant. Now, some of you might remember Betty Brant from the Sam Raimi movies, but, you know, what you guys need to know is that Betty Brant is actually Peter's first crush and everything, and his first love interest. Not love interest in the fact that basically they're in a romantic relationship, but a love interest is he was the first girl that he was infatuated with, that he tried to date. And Betty Brant actually worked as the secretary for J. Jonah Jameson in the Daily Bugle, right? But in the original comics, the way she worked there is she actually dropped out of high school in order to work for him. Alright? Now, maybe this is just me personally, but I saw a girl with white hair popping up in some places, and, you know, I think that I saw Felicia Hardy in this movie, but I'm not betting the house on it, because basically Sony themselves stated that they are doing a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, sometime in the future that's not part of the MCU, but I don't know, I kind of have my suspicions about that, you know. Another Easter egg that you see in the movie is something that you see in a lot of older Spider-Man comics. A lot of times you would see basically, you know, an image of Spider-Man with his spider mask on this side and his human face on the other side. You get a callback to that. In addition, you know, you also have Flash Thompson still bullying Peter. The only difference is Flash Thompson is not a jock in this. He is actually basically a schmug rich kid who actually he actually appears Middle Eastern and everything. And I just realized they took two characters from the comics that are antagonists and made them darker skinned. And no outcry about this. Things that make you go, Anyway, so we got those. We also have Damage Control in the beginning. Now, for those that don't know, Damage Control is originally started as a private organization in Marvel that, as they did in this movie, basically is a cleanup operation after there's a huge superhero battle. In the comics, it was basically a joint venture with Stark Industries and Wilson Fisk's organization. So for some of you that need a reminder, Wilson Fisk is the Kingpin. However, the events of in the aftermath of Fall of the Kingpin, basically he lost the ability to be a proxy or have interest in Damage Control, and hence this is where S.H.I.E.L.D. comes in and takes over as a joint venture with Stark Industries and S.H.I.E.L.D. Give you guys a heads up. You know, by the way, they are hinting towards a possible Sinister Six movie, just to let you know, because you do end up seeing the Scorpion and the Vulture kind of have, like, you know, an easy conversation with each other, you know, so that might be interesting. Another interesting thing is, like, everyone's jumping on the idea that Peter's best friend in this movie is Genk. I thought so too, because, like, you know, he's chubby and he looks Asian. This kid is not Genk. This kid is named Ned. Now, people have jumped the gun and said that this is actually Ned Leeds. Ned Leeds actually is one of the people that actually holds the mantle of Hobgoblin. However, they don't say Ned's last name, so that's up for interpretation. Because later on in the movie, you discover that the girl that he has a crush on is named Liz, is not Liz Allen. You see, basically, like, everyone thought that this was Liz Allen because, like, you know, Liz Allen was a girl Peter had a crush on in school as well too. The only thing was she didn't give him the light of day, and you knew that there was no possibility for them to get together. There was a possibility of Peter and Betty Brant getting together because, you know, there was the attraction with each other there, but I don't think anything was, like, really, like, it didn't pan out for a relationship. Liz Allen, basically, who ends up marrying Harry Osborn, who is a son of Norman Osborn, who is actually the second Green Goblin. Oh, there was one more thing. Oh, yes. Speaking of, like, you know, going back to Genk, the idea of Genk, yes, Miles Morales is in the MCU. You see, for those that don't know, Miles Morales is actually, like, the second person to hold the mantle of Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, right? And, you know, basically right now he's in the main Marvel Universe after the events of the Third Secret Wars and everything. Miles Morales got a lot of controversy because, like, you know, he was supposed to replace Spider-Man, and he was African-American. He's African-American and Hispanic. We got confirmation that he's in this universe because Peter Parker encounters his uncle, Aaron Davis, whom is also known as the Prowler, right? And basically in this confrontation, like, was argument, well, more interrogation, you hear Aaron Davis state that basically, you know, hey, you know, I just want to, like, you know, stick up some people and get some money. I don't want to put somebody in another dimension or somewhere in the hell. You know, hey, I have a nephew in this area. Aaron Davis, being the uncle of Miles Morales, basically confirms that we might see him down the road, or he at least exists in this universe. I think that's what I want to end on. Oh no, that's not what I want to end on. What I want to end on is basically we actually see the Iron Spider suit. Now, for those that don't know, the Iron Spider suit, while there have been a couple, it became famous in the Civil War comics and everything, where Spider-Man actually donned a new outfit when he originally sided with Iron Man. And we actually not only see that there's the Iron Man suit, we do see later on that basically Stark actually wants to hold a press conference with Peter Parker. Again, another Civil War comic book, what you would call them, Easter egg, which I'm hoping not that many people missed, but I think some might have and everything. Anyway, those are all the Easter eggs that I could think of. You know, I've only seen this movie once. I saw it a few days ago. There's possibly more, but if there is more, please give me a comment below and suggest those. Give this video a like. Please subscribe, and as well, after you subscribe, ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this is Token Dave, the dorky token black guy is just trying to get by, and I'll catch you guys later.